This conference will now be recorded.
Great, thank you, Megan. So we'll start the Audit and Finance Committee meeting this morning. I'll skip the comments. And you all got copies of the November 10th Audit and Finance Committee minutes. If there are any questions or comments, please bring them up. Otherwise, look for a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Yeah, so let's talk about the bills. You all have a list of the bills and recorded expenses, the second page of the packet. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at those. I think the only items of significant issue are toward the bottom of that. You see some abstract work, you see some marketing work with Paperkite and then Vibrant Brands. Staff is more than welcome to talk about those expenses if they'd like to add any color.
I would just say the Paperkite isn't really for marketing. That's a quarterly website maintenance that we pay 4 times a year. The Vibrant Brands, that's their consulting fee for this year. And then that's also a video photo production that they're going to do, which is focused more on the Innovation Center. They're going to be interviewing Chad Hall and Mike Contreras and some of the companies that Mike Contreras has brought in for the Innovation Center, kind of doing a video on it to kind of explain to people what it is. Gina is more familiar with that at this point than I am, so she wants to elaborate on it.
Yeah, we're also going to be getting testimonials with some of the startups that CEI has coming into the program, and all of the video and footage that we get we can really use for the upcoming years to market the center on our landing pages as well as our social media, which I'm starting to get up and running. So yeah, and that's not reimbursable. That's not part of the grant.
I don't know. I guess that's it.
Just a quick question on the Paperkite and the website. I must confess, it's been a while since I've looked at the website.
Yeah.
But do they make monthly updates or changes? I mean, say you call it maintenance, but what does that entail?
So they go in and they tell us things that we can do on the website to just get more visibility.
Yeah, they do our marketing and analytics for us as well. So in order for us to see our data with how well these campaigns are actually doing, we receive all of that information from them.
In terms of number of hits and all of that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Can we get access to back end?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
$50,000 of the marketing was our match to the ARC grant.
Okay.
Do we have the abstract in hand, or is it just a preliminary fee?
No, we have Kurt sent it the other day to us. If you would like to.
I get
He emailed it. I don't
I can
recall.
go, you want me to go make some copies of it? You guys are gonna
But we're
go.
going to talk about it.
I don't, that's fine. Thank you. That's fine.
So any other questions or comments on the bills? If not, I'd look for a motion to pay the bills. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. And on the back of that, you'll see the deposits for the month. See rent, and a pilot. Does that say pilot fee?
Yeah, that's Advanced Biotech 2022.
Okay. Okay, so we've got those deposits, and then also attached, you've got the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement, and then the budget for 21 and 22 comparative. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at those. I'll open that up for Jody if you'd like to make any comments or if there's any questions.
No, I guess the biggest thing is that we're up $90,000 over taking insurance.
Okay.
Pretty much everything else is rather.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, new and unfinished business. We
So Bird's lease is up in the beginning of February, and they actually reached out to me about wanting to renew they actually said for 2 years, 2 one-year terms. So
You got a player option for the second year or the team up?
So I figured we could just do the first year and maybe talk about it again next year. I
Yeah.
did bring up to them, Jody said, well, what about the purchasing the building? So I asked, are you interested in purchasing the building? And they said that they just bought a building in Binghamton So their capital is kind of tied up with that, but that is something that they are discussing and would like to do in the next 2 years, so.
The 1 year it is.
Yeah, 1
No,
year.
2, 1 year.
That's how he worded it to me, and I.
Do you want to do a 2 year or do you want to do a 1 year? You pick.
2 years.
So the current lease expires in February,
Yeah, I believe it's February 1st, well, end of June.
and they want to, if I'm interpreting, they want to extend for at least a year. And is it a current lease?
I think, yeah, they would like the same rate, which is, I think, why they want 2 1-year terms. They want to know that they will get the same rate. Possibly
But
a
not
year.
the opportunity to do it.
Was that lease,
Okay, cake and eat it.
was that lease at a different level when we started and it came down over time, or did it?
No, this would be, if we were to resign, this would be their 3rd year.
At the same.
At the
At the
same
same rate?
Rate that was original, 4,295 a month.
And it's always been that.
It is a,
Okay.
Why isn't it 45 or something more than,
They've been
I mean,
this will be their.
everything else,
I thought it was.
Third-
I thought
everything else is going up.
So that's their proposal. We're not approving anything.
Yep, I'm just bringing it to you.
We're
You
gonna
guys
look
want to
at
take it
that.
to the board, you guys can discuss it.
Thank you.
Do you want discussion on it? Do we want to talk about?
Not yet. It's not
Okay.
until February.
Let's go right into it.
I'm prepared to offer a counter, right? Or put that in Jody's
I mean,
hands again.
it's
too.
worthy of getting,
Building assessment, understanding should we be raising rent?
Yeah, anyone understand.
Hold, right? If, I think you can offer potentially a little bit more favorable if they do want to go 2 years versus
Yeah, there
1
you go.
year. So putting that in Jody's hands to,
well, we could get some input from those that manage commercial leases and see what's going on in the market.
so Jody
Yeah,
consult with our other board member down there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so we have to look at the lease and see what, yeah.
We've been operating under 1 year though,
Yep.
the whole time, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so further discussion to come. There's no further business. I think we have here that we'd like to enter an executive session for the purpose of discussing some financial information and personnel issue. So, is that right? Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Video off.
Oh, yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Can you say that again?
There was no action taken in executive session,
Covered last.
so I would entertain a motion to adjourn our
So moved. So,
audit and finance meeting. Thank you. Senator.
August meeting.
Good job.
So Andrew was not here to do that.
Dave, you're up.
Great. Call the governance meeting to order. We will forego the chairman's comments. Approval of the August 11th meeting minutes, which everybody has. There are no comments or questions. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Okay.
Jody, new and unfinished business.
Okay, it came to our attention from Joe Scott that neither I nor Megan have the authority to sign any contract. And this is usually the CEO prior to my being here had signed all of the contracts. So Joe said you can by resolution have the board authorize you and or staff to sign contracts. And what ends up happening is like, we'll get a we'll get documents such as incentive offers and proposals, disbursement agreements, contract amendments. And then usually the state will put either Megan's name on it or my name. And that was actually at the request of Jeff Joyner, because he said, what do I know about this? Just have them put your name. I don't know. And most recently, when we did the grant disbursements,
It got
for the rail yards, Bill wouldn't make it because it had Megan's name on it as opposed to Jeff Joyner's name.
Even though the board had already approved. to do the-
Say that's stupid and be it stupid, but okay, let's do it. I'm pretty sure we've already done it for the CEO, probably not for Megan, but it's, I mean, your position we should have to have a resolution for the CEO of the organization to be able to sign a contract. That's just dumb, but okay. So moved on the resolution. Do them all at the same
Could I have a
time.
motion on the resolution?
We're just gonna bring it to the board, because we can't do it.
Okay, we
These
can't,
are all going to the board. If the
Any
governance approves
discussion
them,
or
then
any-
they'll go to the board.
Oh, okay, got that.
Okay, great.
Okay, so you don't actually need.
We don't. bring them to-
anybody have any issue with the resolution?
Yeah.
Just a note on this is that it does say at the end of it, that there are certain, documents that we cannot sign. Which are such as pilot agreements, bond issuances, and anything that requires the chairman or vice chairman's signature by law.
Okay.
Those documents. The next resolution is, we had this discussion last month. Again, Joe's like saying, well, technically you can't hire staff. Now, there is a provision in our bylaws that says the board can authorize me to hire staff. But it's never been exercised apparently.
So all this time that Joe has been our counsel and we've hired staff, he's saying we've never
Never had the right to-
authorization to hire staff?
That's correct.
What can
Okay.
The only one staff member that the board hires, and that is everybody else is senior.
So this resolution will authorize me to hire staff in accordance with our budget. So I'm just not gonna go out and hire somebody and say, oh. we don't have the money.
And we have to approve the budget. So,
Any issue with that resolution?
No.
Last,
Okay, and the last resolution, is because I didn't have the authority technically.
Wow.
You're hiring a null and void.
This is the resolution that confirms. That was what I was saying.
which
Are you
will,
okay with that?
well,
Yeah, well, you're really awkward.
So that's all I have, and those will all be at the board meeting next week.
motion to adjourn the governance committee meeting.
So moved.
Yeah.
Moving on to
2 minutes,
process.
2 minutes for Brad. 7 minutes. Forego the chairman's comments, call the meeting order, forego the comments, approval of the November 10th meeting minutes. Any questions or concerns?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Looking at the project charters, I don't think there's been a ton of kind of movement activity, but Jody, if you want to walk us through if there's any highlights, given our time frame on the rail yards.
No, on the rail yards, the only thing is that they've, Rambo has finished phase 2 of it. State giving them an extension of another 3 months. There is no phase 2 right now. They had a change in staff that I stirred up. So they haven't given them green, the 30 days on it.
Is that, there's just 3 phases to their study? Okay.
So that's really all on the rail yards. On Richfield Springs, I would note 2 issues on Richfield Springs. One is that next week I have to spend time on getting a request to EDA for a budget extension. Because it expires in February, and I'll give them a couple months to get through that. So that's gonna be my priority next week to get that document. The second thing is that we had received only one proposal for the construction management. Out of the 11 we sent out, and advertised, we only received one.
over what period of time?
A month.
Is that right?
We gave everybody 30 days. I did not time. So I'm gonna have to have that discussion with the EDA, whether they're gonna want us to reissue it or whether they.
Did you get correspondence from more than one?
I got correspondence from 3 other firms saying they were just too busy right now to respond.
I think that'll mean something when you talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll send that as well.
I guess the others were too busy even to send a letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so those are like the 2 big highlights on this right now. The other drawbacks has still been is Still waiting for the attorneys to finalize the memorandum of agreement on water and sewer. I still don't have final designs. I emailed them twice and said, I'm gonna actually call them this afternoon, say what the heck's going on,
Mhm.
because it's just,
And who is that?
we're using Keystone Engineers out there. And I understand that they've had two, not recently, but they've had two outbreaks of COVID in their office where they shut down. Their staff is short by like 5 engineers. They just can't find them.
Yeah, I get it.
And they're just swamped right now.
And the proposed bid date,
I'm still optimistic we'll get them done by December.
By the way, who's the one that responded?
The architect out of, former board member out of.
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan.
Jordan, okay. Okay.
So that's really it. And then I'm going to refer the Innovation Center to Gina.
He's working on our project, so we're going for it.
And I did tell Gina that we're going to sit down with the chairman of our project committee so you can explain in more greater detail how you want these project charters done.
Oh, okay, perfect.
let me just backtrack for a second. You think that they're gonna have bid documents available this month? Keystone?
That's what I'm pushing them to do.
Okay. And what was the tentative date again for awarding the bid?
It
Will you, February?
would be normally February, you give them 60 days.
Right. So that 60 days is a running time period based on when the bid documents are actually out there posted where they can take a look at them. The good news is that this is not a huge design issue, and so
You're right, yeah.
the bids can be
The
bids can be turned around pretty quickly by these companies, you know.
The problem with the engineering firms are having is that there are only probably 2 EDA grants in all of it. And nobody is familiar with the EDA regulations of what has to go into those grants.
Yeah.
Right. Do they have to be there every day looking at everything? Do they have to be there once a month?
There's with the management firm.
I mean, construction management, they don't have to be there every day unless they're burying something.
Right. I mean, they have the same issues, I'm sure. The same question.
the positive with that is Jim's there. That's where he lives, so.
Like when they're doing excavation,
Got no experience.
they don't have
No
to be
brainer.
there.
Yeah.
You know, but when they're doing compaction underneath whatever pipes they're putting in, and then when they're putting the pipes in, then they have to be able to see that. It's tested.
But we need to begin to, at current rate, we have to speed up to come to a complete stop. So, we
Yeah.
gotta get going, gotta get something done.
Yeah, there's that, basically, there's like a lot of yellow, a lot of dates kind of being missing. And if yellow indicates to me that you still feel like we can still meet the ultimate deadlines.
We're at the mercy of the engineering firm at this particular point in time. It's just that sometimes. You just want to be available in April, so the company can come in and start work. That's all.
Yeah, I think you're gonna want your construction bid locked up well before that.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, no, the construction bid has to go out.
Yeah.
The other issue is they've got to order materials.
Yeah.
And that has become a huge problem.
Yeah.
You probably know that well. So,
Glass and metal seem to be the two.
The issue on pricing materials, you'll see that when we discuss the public hearing that we had. Their timeline went from, they were supposed to be completed, this is the project in Milford.
Bid, but
Yeah.
They were supposed to,
That was on it, that's from the director's report.
they're supposed to be completed last year, at the end of last year, they're now projecting the completion date 2 years from now.
wow.
All supply chain issues?
Yeah.
Really?
So Gina, you're on your report.
All right. Yeah, so I got here on the 17th of November. Since I've gotten here, I have met with all of the leaders of our anchor businesses which is right now iAccess and custom electronics. I've met with Michael Pintaris and Jeff Hall individually to kind of get a feel for the direction they're wanting to go in. I've also met with Tess from BMC, Michael Walsh from Hartwood College, and today everyone from that committee is meeting in person here to discuss together in person kind of what are we doing and what is developing. I've found that the role that CEGO now is really playing in this is to kind of be a mediator to make sure that self-interest doesn't go in any particular directions. I know Hartwood College was thinking about housing the innovation center there. The problem I have with that is I think it's just too new for us to just put these startups up on the hill and not really have any oversight of, you know, what is actually getting accomplished and getting done and how are we really helping them. So that's really my primary interest with this right now is how do we get startups in but make sure that they're actually growing and that our resources aren't, you know, going to waste. On top of that, upcoming, we have on the page behind, we have on the 14th Vibrant Brands filming for us to create 2 films. One of them is going to be highlighting our anchor businesses and saying the benefits of joining our program. And then the other one is going to be more of an informational video that would actually go to the startups that are applying to get more in-depth information on our program. I've also have meetings set up for every 2 weeks, meeting with Laura Hoffman from the Southern Tier Incubator at Binghamton. And she is mentoring me to help me get the framework for the Innovation Center, such as applications that they use for these startups, as well as the process as far as like setting up the milestones for these startups once they come into our program. So I'm using them as a mentor because they've done it before. And another thing that we're looking at is something that Laura actually brought up that was super useful. Their biggest startup that they have in there is actually out of the hospitality industry. It's not even in tech. So she's kind of opening up our minds to other ways that we can expand, except like outside of just manufacturing. So,
Is it just a curiosity, is it a management company?
I believe so, yeah.
Operations management?
Yep. So that's where I'm at. I am also applying for a USDA Rural Business Development Grant. That grant is due 2/28 for the application. I'm applying for anywhere from 50 to 75,000. I have not decided yet. I have a meeting today with a woman named Allison, who has way more experience with writing grants than I do to discuss the framework of what that grant would be and what I can put that money towards. Great. And then where I'm at.
So what's your take on the Hartwick-Suco cooperation?
I think that it can benefit the startups. You know, one thing Michael Pintaris mentioned was that we don't have technical writers. You know, we are going to need mentors for these startups, and professors from both of the universities can be a huge help. But as far as like resources, you know, Southern Tier Incubator, they don't even give these startups computers. They give them desks and chairs. And so if Hartwick is saying, yeah, we're going to put $75,000 into our innovation center, that's really going towards those students. And if we're going to just move our startups into that facility and really all they're giving them is, you know, desks and chairs, it just doesn't really make sense to me. Then like, how does SUNY benefit over Hartwick? You know, how do you, again, make sure that there's, you know, no self-interest in either direction?
Yeah, I can't see SUNY agreeing to.
Yeah, again, it's just so new that keeping it here in-house to where we actually are seeing what's happening and how it's developing, I think is our most important.
But Gina, is Hartwick, are they backing off in terms of wanting us up there, or are they going to go ahead on their own?
You know, they offered a space in the deep streets where they're putting their food science innovation center, which also doesn't really make sense. They're putting an innovation center down here, but they're putting an innovation center at Hartwick. It's honestly just all like kind of convoluted for me to really get. I don't think that they're backing off, although Michael Pintaris is not coming to our committee meeting today. I don't know why, or not Michael Pintaris, Michael Walsh. But they I think are just like waiting to see really what our framework is. And we're waiting to see how they can be a benefit for the businesses that we bring in. So it's kind of TBD right now.
The other problem with the D Street is I don't think that's gonna be ready for occupancy for probably another 8 months.
Yeah, they were saying that it's ready in January and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Where, Beach Street, where?
The new building.
In the apartment buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Harvey they're putting in the grain into.
Yeah,
basement.
Mhm. Yep, and a confectionery kind of program.
It's their piece. At the commercial.
Yeah.
Street level.
At this point, we're focusing on really just this current building with what we already own. We're not looking to acquire any additional space at this point in time until we see what we get in there and.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario down the road where if both are involved, it's housed in either place. I don't see.
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. And
Well, and I think even from the beginning, like having it up on the hill, just again, doesn't make sense.
Correct. Yeah, I think having it here, if we can have it here, you know, that's the safest thing and keep the kids surprised.
Doesn't the grant outline
Parking
that
is a
anyways?
problem.
Doesn't the grant outline that anyways?
Yeah, would it be downtown?
I think it'll be worth that.
And I would also
Yeah.
say it's completely normal for them each to have their own agendas. That's, you know, let's work through it and figure out how we convince them that that's
How
mutual
we help
benefit to
them, how they
community.
help us.
Yeah, correct. And have it here.
Time to be collegial.
Oh,
There you
good
go.
word. Is that the word of the day?
I thought it was appropriate.
You go.
Very appropriate.
You can hit us.
I know that's a tough sell there.
It's a nonverbal.
And I know you're just gonna act, I know.
Huh?
Just curious in terms of, do we have any current leads or do we have any current startups that are already interested in?
So Michael Pantaris from Custom Electronics has about 6 startups that he's saying that he can enter into this program. Again, we're just waiting for the framework in order to get them started.
Great.
Yeah, we ride Mike, you know, help Michael. He's a great person.
Yeah, he'll be great in
100%.
He's a key. Listen, I need to leave.
Okay.
Another social event. I don't know.
Well,
I would, like, believe it or not, I think this is gonna be a quick meeting. And Jeff took up all the time today. I know, it's usually a very long drawn out.
When are they changing signage?
Thank you. There's no more votes. I still have a forum.
Yeah.
It's coming from China.
Okay.
See that?
Oh, that's right, that's right.
All right, so if there is nothing more on the charter, anything, anyone has any questions on the director's report, any highlights, Jody, you'd like to make on the director's report? Nothing, I felt like it was all pretty self-explanatory.
No, the only thing that is not on there, I did send them a congratulations, email yesterday was, the grant we worked with, for the air structure in Saudi. They did receive $100,000 ESD grant.
That's in Worcester? That's in Worcester. Where are they?
Yeah.
Worcester?
Yeah.
Lutheran Mill Road in Worcester. The center of the
Everything else
universe.
in this report. We do our first drawdown, $330 for Iox's state. It's processing it right now. And Brooks Bottling, they gave us permission to submit a full application for that. So that's a positive thing.
All right,
I don't want to do
anything
any more grant applications.
else? Hate to tell you, but I'm to the job. All right, anything else on the director's report?
Well, lastly, we did hear back. Your state retirement system is coming up, in cost.
Yeah.
This other number. And this afternoon, I'm meeting with the county administrator, continue our talks on appropriation for 2000.
All right,
I would also just note that we did change the board meeting to next Thursday, so we're not doing it on the 22nd. Based on a committee meeting in November, they decided.
That's what, 15?
So it's the 15th. So we do need a quorum for that, so that's why I'm letting you guys know now. Did you want to bring up advanced biotech's public hearing? Because based on Joe Scott's email, that would come up next week.
Yeah. This project is so screwed up. This is advanced biotech. Their project went from $5 million down to up to $14 million. They're claiming they need, and we started this discussion back in January. And they just got us a revised application last week. We held a public hearing without actually having the application, just based on their attorney's numbers. Joe Scott claims he's gonna have materials to us before the board meeting, to approve an increase in sales tax.
Well, also to close the public hearing.
And he goes,
And that's what I was really getting at. Because
It's open till the 13th because we didn't have a,
the dates
Date.
weren't on the materials that went out to the taxing jurisdiction. So they didn't know the date of the public hearing.
Technically legal notification.
Right, so Jody went to the public hearing, he stated that it would be open until December 13th, but I sent Joe an email asking, because he was supposed to follow up and send a supplemental letter to the taxing jurisdictions, letting them know that we've kept the public hearing open until the 13th. I don't know if that letter went out based on his email, it kind of seemed like it never did. So he advised that if it was okay with us, that he would keep the public hearing open until the 15th, which is our board meeting. And we would close the public hearing at the board meeting instead of Jody going back to town hall in Milford and closing it there. And that he would then send the letter out, which kind of means like it's been open this whole time, I guess.
sounds good.
it sounds good, but I would like to double check with Joe. I don't know if we legally, the public hearing is supposed to be in the municipality that.
Right, so closing, yeah, that's what I thought too. So now we're knowing that.
But notwithstanding that.
So, you want to find out if it's
Anyway.
legal from.
Well, this all started because the town of Milford acquired council and wrote me an email saying, when's the date of the public hearing we'd like to attend? So technically, someone who did want to show up, he wrote me the night before the public hearing though. So I told him it's tomorrow, and I was confused why he didn't know that, because the town of Milford knows that, because they post the notice. And then I read through his email and I saw the notice that he got from our council, and it didn't have the date, it just said November blank 2022.
Okay, well, clean that up so we can either finish the public hearing in the appropriate manner. It needs to be able to close that out.
Yeah, so yeah, that email from Joe was
I may
yesterday.
not be at the next board meeting, I may be in.
Yeah.
So quick question. Project cost on this went from 5 to 14. Was it increased cost for the same project, or did it, because the project just blown up, gotten bigger and bigger and bigger?
I think it's a combination of both. When we got the revised application, the person who's working on the application is a plant manager, let's say. He shouldn't be filling out these applications. They should be done by their attorney, and their attorneys have not been involved. So when, say this project was gonna cost $50,000 for these materials, he crossed that off with $10,000. And there's really no explanation as to why that increase was. So my thought is some of it has to do with prices have just gone up. And my other thought is when they initially planned this, they didn't plan to do 100% of the work. And they're just adding more improvements to the building.
How do you go forward with the project when you don't even have the?
Because this company in New Jersey has multi-million dollars. They're a very wealthy company, so they're just throwing money at this thing.
Can you help them in the application? Sounds like they don't know what they're doing, right? Can you help them through the application?
I think we're kind of past that, are we not, though? Like,
I explained, yeah.
Yeah, I mean-
My last email to them was, you.
Here's a pro forma. This is what we need. Here's the price. Okay, we're running down the price. Oh, by the way, it's changed. It's up
That's all.
20 inch.
Go, yeah.
Just ignore it. Just keep going. I don't know how you can do that.
You're very restricted in your thinking. You're probably not an artist.
Not at all.
all right, anything else? Okay, any new and unfinished business? All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.